Hey everybody, Boris from BK Forex. Welcome to the crosses section for September 18th to September 22nd of 2017. And of course, there's really only one trade idea to discuss, which is the yen crosses, because this was the week of the breakout of the yen crosses. Nothing stronger, better, firmer than the pound yen breakout. And that really becomes the first and foremost trade of the week as we start out. We had a massive, I think, 500-600 point move here. We took out some very, very significant resistance here. And the pound yen becomes the big, big trade at the beginning of this week with support 148, resistance all the way up to 154. Really, the key thing with the pound yen is that it challenged the same resistance points pre-Brexit as pound dollar challenged on its own. So to me, that really points, if you look at the, we'll take a look at the charts here, at how powerful that move is and how much likely there's potentially for an extension. The other sort of a stealthy yen cross breakout, not nearly as dramatic, but still very much deserving of a look, was the euro yen move, which took out that big resistance at around the 132 level, and now really points all the way up to 135. This really is basically a trade on the idea that the Fed is going to be hawkish, but the euro is just not going to come down that much, and that really creates a very positive move towards the euro yen. And the last idea is the Aussie CAD relative strength trade here. Again, back towards the caddy. It's a much slower, much kind of a more tamer idea, but it does have some potential here where sort of mid-range on the retrace still has some potential to the downside, assuming dollar CAD can make that second move back down towards the 120. So let's take a look at the charts here, and we'll start with pound yen, which is really my favorite trade as we start the week. This is the look. This is the weekly chart. Look at this massive, massive candle move. Whenever we have such huge volatility moves, the continuation is there almost always. And now, of course, it can completely fake us out. A million different things could happen. North Korea could blow something up over Japan, and then the whole thing could go sideways. But basically, if we technicals always assume that there isn't a new fundamental driver that changes the story when we're looking at it. So if we operate under that technical assumption, there is no new fundamental driver that completely changes the story. The continuation story here is very powerful. We are up to, as I said, the pre-Brexit resistance points here to this 150. We went to 150, 154 on the weekly high. Really didn't trade much off the weekly high here on a relative basis, still holding at these levels. So the continuation here, move here, is quite possible. The near-term resistance is around this 153, 154, but ultimately it's really this whole 150, 160 corridor that comes into play as we trade on a longer-term charts. This really is positive cable, positive yen, to the max story. That is the trade of the week, I think, as we start out. Euro yen, on the other hand, is a tamer version, but the same kind of a story. You see, look at this. It's a pretty nice breakout on the weeklies here. And we did take out the 131 resist point here. So we're now above this 131. The next resist point comes into around 34, 50, 35. So slower, but still a very powerful move here. Again, when you look at the candles here, when you have continuity, it's generally followed. Continuity here is not a one candle event because the story is quite powerful. This, again, assumes that North Korea does not create any kind of risk aversion trade that could completely destroy us. All things being equal, the technicals argue for further continuation, which is why I like this trade as well. And then last trade here, the odd CAD, is a much calmer, tamer trade, but still looks quite negative. We have a series of lower highs here. We are coming up to this big resist at 96.50, but we're sort of midpoint to the resist, and I'm basically arguing that I think there's a reasonable chance here that we can retest this resist at 96.50 and possibly even go down to 96. This all really is preconditioned on the idea that oil continues to just percolate to the upside, and dollar CAD makes the secondary move towards the 120 level. Aussie just simply stays the same. There really isn't much on the Australian front except for the RBA notes. The other possibility is that the RBA notes could be more dovish than the market thinks, and that could provide a little bit more fuel to the downside. This is a small, much lower volatility trade, but an interesting one as the week progresses. But the big trade, the super focus of the week, I think, as we start out, is the pound yen. That's the cross trade that I think is going to get the most attention. Wish you guys the best luck, the best trading. Boris, over and out.